All right, looks like it came up this time. Let's see if it popped up on my. Huh, weird. Just gonna make sure that it did pop up on my regular profile this time. And there I am. Yep, so I am there. Well, I'll give it a second here to get some people on, but I tried to come on live a minute ago and it came on through one of my pages, but didn't come on the other one. Huh. Hope everybody's doing well. It is Wednesday night, and huh, it's the strangest thing I've ever seen happen. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. We got a busy. I'm going to do it on here now because now that it's actually looks like it's working. Well, maybe I don't know what is going on with my internet. I'm getting some weird stuff. I don't. Maybe we got some space stuff going on. Who knows? Maybe I'll do it through my phone. If this doesn't keep working, I'm gonna have to switch to something else. Anyway, lots of crazy things that are going on around the world. Here in Anchorage, we have a event tomorrow. It's a big one. It's going to be a big rally against mask mandates and forced vaccinations, and a couple of the places, well, quite a few of the places here are mandating the vaccine if you're going to continue working there. Hospitals and so forth and whatnot are requiring it, which is actually decimating the workforce in some of these places. And nobody should be mandated to get a vaccine or put something in their body. I think it's ridiculous that they're even discussing this. Each one of us as an individual, we have a right to decide what we want to do with our own bodies. It's like telling somebody you can't have a tattoo or you can't pierce your ears or, whatever. Your own body is your own body, and you should be able to do with it whatever you want. You know what is right for yourself. And mandating something like this is the worst thing that you can possibly have happen. So anyway, we're going to do the rally tomorrow between 5 and 7. I'm going to be doing a meeting out in Eagle River from 7 o'clock on. Kind of a preppers meeting. Are you ready? Are you prepared in case we have a major event, a catastrophe or whatnot? And then we're also going to be doing a Blexit event this Saturday, and that is going to be at the House of Harley, and that will run from 4 to 6. We're going to do kind of a barbecue cookout, kind of into the summer little get together, and hopefully we'll get a lot of people out there, get some volunteers signed up, and eat some food, and share some stories, and talk about the community. Hopefully we can get quite a few people out there to volunteer and show up. We did have a little event that was at Little Dipper Diner to kind of get things rolling, and was able to speak to quite a few people that were coming in to eat breakfast, and it was kind of nice. It was nice and quiet, and we were able to sit down and talk to people and discuss it a little bit, and met some nice people. So hopefully we can do the same thing. It doesn't look like my feed is going out to too many people, so this is I don't know. I think Facebook is probably throttling my stuff, which wouldn't surprise me. I used to get anywhere between 20 to 100 people on, and now I'm getting like 3 or 4. So it is what it is. I mean, I'm gonna have to deal with it. Get the word out one way or another. Yeah. This is it's frustrating to be able to go from being able to see and talk to a bunch of different people, and then all of a sudden there's just a few people watching. So I don't know. Anyway, if you're in Anchorage and you want to go to events, this weekend is some good time to go to events. Tomorrow, what's going on? Hey, Mr. Ball. This weekend is a good time to come out and check out Blexit. Thursday, tomorrow night. Hey, Scott, what's going on, buddy? Tomorrow night would be a good night to come out and hang out with some like-minded people at the rally from 5 to 7 at Tudor and Elmore. Last time there was 200 to 300 people. Hopefully there'll be a bunch more, and we can express our voices and everything else. Exactly, Scott. Yeah, it was nice today. Hopefully we can get out and make some it's a party now. hopefully we can change some minds. I mean, I kind of doubt it, but I think that having some public outcry, I think, is a good thing. I think that we need to get out there for sure and be heard. It's kind of our civic duty to get out there in the face of the public. So come and join us. You know, flag wave, bring your signs, so forth and whatnot tomorrow, and let the city hear what you got to say. You know, we were at the school board meeting the other night. Actually, it was last night, and one right after another of different people that were for the mask mandate in the schools, and there was 50 people signed up, and I would probably say 30 out of the 50 were for the masks, and it was pretty grotesque. But you know, people, what they do is, you know, in the politics side of things, you know, they wall up the support and everything else, and they let them know, hey, show up, whatever. And most of these people that showed up yesterday were signed up super early. You know, they were emailing stuff in, and that's the one thing that, you know, this side of the aisle, we hardly do that. We'd rather show up in person rather than call and email and call in that way. You know, 2 weeks ago when we went to the school board, it was the opposite. I mean, everybody that was in there was against the mask mandates. And this time we were completely outnumbered. There might have been 5 of us in the room, and the rest of them were all about the mask mandate. So, you know, we have to be consistent. If we're not consistent, then our voices and our message gets completely lost. So we have to be able to start going in there and, you know, we got to have a consistent message, and we got to hammer it home, and we got to keep going. And it's like a radio announcer, right? If they say an ad long enough, eventually it gets stuck in your head. But we kind of need to do the same thing. You know, we usually show up and there's facts, and you know, they may be alternate facts to what the other side's pushing, but they're still facts. There's science on our side, there's science on their side, they say. Even though I haven't seen anybody produce proof that, you know, certain things with COVID is true. It's just it's a whole bunch of doctors that have probably been paid to say what they're saying, and you got Fauci, which is a flip flopper. The guy can't. If he was Pinocchio, the guy would have a 100-foot long nose by now. So, you know, all we can do is keep pushing. I mean, I think that there's some crazy stuff coming. Not necessarily even from here. I think there could be some crazy stuff coming from overseas. If China and Russia end up, you know, bankrolling the Taliban, that's all bad for everybody. And you know, the Taliban and Al Qaeda and all these other groups, if China and Russia gets mixed up with them, I mean, it's World War III. It's on. You know, China wants Taiwan back, and they're willing to fight us for it. So that could be interesting. There's a whole lot of things on the global side of things that are just pretty ugly right now. So I hope that hope calmer heads prevail, but it's not looking too good. And with the chief that we have in there right now in the White House, he's the kind of person that'll bow down rather than stand up and fight. So not really holding out a whole lot of hope for our federal government doing anything that's going to help us. See, Donovan Martin's on. The ones that I feel sorry for the most are the vets that went over and fought in Afghanistan. Everything that they did, the sacrifices that they made, all the crap that they had to go through in the last 20 years is all for naught, just because our commander-in-chief is a friggin' just a wet rag. The best way to put it. He ran from reporters. He hasn't taken any questions in quite a while, and he's just a. There's no other better definition than a lame duck for this guy. And he's only been in there, 8 months? And in their 8 months, and in a month, the Taliban took down, 17 days or whatever, I think is what I heard, took down the entire country of Afghanistan. Ridiculous. The money that we dumped on the security forces over there was a joke. People didn't want to fight. They didn't want to resist the Taliban. They just let it happen. And it's pretty sickening. And I know that there's a lot of people that speculate whether or not the Taliban did whatever they did to 9/11 or the Al Qaeda, whoever. I don't really care which group it is. The fact is they took credit for it. It was our job to go over there and do something in Afghanistan. And We did. We were over there for 20 years trying to make peace and everything else over there, trying to teach these people how to govern and try and teach these people how to police themselves and everything else. And it's all gone to shit in 17 days. We left all of our weapons, left all of our vehicles over there, jumped on some C-130s and loaded up a bunch of Afghan civilians, which to me, they look like they're a bunch of, 28, 25 to 35-year-old males. Wasn't a whole lot of females on that plane, at least from what I could tell. And they shipped them to Texas. And I know that I've seen videos and stuff where Texas is not happy about receiving these folks. So that should be an interesting an interesting thing whenever they get unloaded there in Texas. Let's see. Oh, I'm sure that there's private and corporate businesses getting paid to lay off people, and the thing is, this is all an agenda. These folks have got an agenda, and they are playing it to the T. And the thing is, and most people don't realize, this shit's accelerating. I mean, it's gaining speed. We're going downhill now. There for years and stuff, it was an uphill fight, and now it's crowned the hill, and it's starting to come downhill like a roller coaster, and it's coming fast. And I mean, stuff's hitting the news so fast you can't even catch your breath anymore. It's almost unfathomable. I mean, you can't even. It's happening so fast you don't know what's coming next. I'm sure there's going to be some events that happen across the country, whether they're individual people doing stuff, whether there's groups doing stuff. It's going to get crazy. I think that if everybody needs to be prepared. Now, I don't think that anything major is going to happen in Alaska. I mean, we're kind of removed a little bit from the lower 48, but that doesn't mean we're immune from it. So I think being prepared for it and having some kind of a game plan as far as what you're going to do if something crazy happens, and it doesn't even have to be anything that has anything to do with any major event. It could be weather, it could be earthquakes, it could be civil unrest, it could be anything. But the idea is to try and have some kind of a game plan for when it happens, you get out, or you have a place to go or whatever. So tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in Eagle River, if you're interested in going and want to meet, it's going to be the location secrets. You can message me and on Facebook, message me on here, and I'll give you the location, or message me on my text and I'll give you the location. I just don't want it all over. I don't want people showing up that don't need to be there. I think that it's important that we get together, we have a game plan, we have some idea of what we're going to do. One of the biggest things that we need to do more in Anchorage is we need to network more. We need to know who's on our side. We need to know who is willing to do what whenever the shit hits the fan. And being able to do that is a crucial thing. It could be a crucial thing for survival. Down in California, I ran groups that helped out with humanitarian aid when we had fires, and it seems like they're having major fires every year now. And a lot of those people that were doing it when I was there before are still doing it. Kudos to them. And it sucks because just as soon as the fires are done, they rebuild, and the next year they all burn down again. So, I hope that people here in Anchorage are prepared. I know that road-wise, they can rebuild a road in a weekend. So they proved that whenever they had the last earthquake. But, there's still homes that are still... when we were looking for our house 2 years ago, there's still homes that are haven't been fixed from the earthquake. You can't really live in them. They're unlivable. And so I mean, things get when things happen, what are you going to do? What's your game plan? Insurance going to take care of certain things, or that's kind of an act of God. So not every insurance will cover your house. But what happens if we get what happens if China decides to come over, or Russia decides to come over, or, we have a port here and we have a lot of goods that come in from China. We have a lot of goods that come in from the lower 48, and the stuff is shipped here on barges and ships. And what happens if we end up not having food? I mean, there's a food shortage already going on down south. They're paying farmers and stuff to destroy their crops. They're paying them 3 times more than what their crops are worth. And yeah, this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is fact. There's people in my hometown that have been paid to destroy their corn. There've been people paid to destroy their wheat. I grew up in eastern Colorado, almost western Kansas, so I know this to be a fact. It's not something that's bullshit. And what happens whenever the truck drivers all refuse to get the COVID shot and they have to have a COVID card to deliver food? I mean, this is all stuff that really needs to be looked at because it's coming. I know that a lot of people don't like TikTok because it's owned by China, yada yada yada. You know what? The thing is keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And I'm on TikTok all the time. I've got 20,000 followers on there. I make short videos. It's fun. But the best part about TikTok is there's a shit ton of conservatives on there. A lot of people on there that see what's coming. They share information. Some of it's probably BS, but you have to weed through it and find out for yourself. But the thing is there's really good people on there. I've made contact with a few people. There's some people here in Anchorage, and some that I chat with here, and they all see what's coming, and it's not good. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of patriots on TikTok. You see a lot of veterans on there that are really sick and fed up with what's going on in Afghanistan. They're sick and fed up with who we got in the White House. There's a ton of nurses on there that are, they're quitting because they don't want to take the shot. There's a ton of like-minded people on TikTok, and they're getting the word out. I know that there's been talk of running different rallies and stuff, and they're using TikTok to spread the word. And there's other sites too, like Clapper. It's like TikTok, but it's not as restrictive, I guess. I haven't been on there and done too much on that one, but I have the app. I just haven't gone on there and played around with it that much. But social media has become one of our biggest hindrances. We're not able to share the stuff out there without getting kicked off, blocked, whatever. I lost an account that I had for 12 years. It was maxed out. I had a bunch of other pages I was running. They all got wiped out. I lost all the pictures I had for 12 years. So, right now, the conservative side of the aisle, that we're all pariahs. They've labeled us terrorists. The DOJ has. Mama bears, that's what they're talking about on TikTok now. Mama bears, that are out to protect their kids. You're terrorists. It's one of those things that never in my lifetime, let's put it this way, never in my lifetime would I ever expect to not have my voice at least out there and heard, and getting called a terrorist because of the views that I have. I'm not going out there and bombing anyone. I'm not going out there and setting fires to any neighborhoods. I'm not going out there shooting people. I'm not going out there and, going out in the streets and doing anything dangerous. Now what they're saying is the words that come out of your mouth are harmful. They're as bad as murder, and that's sickening to me. I grew up in a time when you had a problem with someone, you took them out in the street and you fought, and sometimes you'd win, sometimes you'd lose. And the thing is if you lost, it made you tougher. You'd stand up and you'd take the abuse and you'd take the fighting, and it made you a better person, honestly. But nowadays, if somebody says something that they don't like, or hears something that they don't like, they call the cops on you. The cops usually don't do anything. They kind of come and laugh, but you make a spectacle of yourself. And, that's where the term Karens came from. So I said this on the little video I did a little minute ago. Maybe we need to start sending all the Karens over to Afghanistan and fight the Taliban. They can mop up the country for us and and that kind of stuff. Get all the feminists over there, and they can fight for the women's rights over there. If you have a feminist in your face, you might want to mention that. That might shut them up. I don't know. I'm all for women's rights, but whenever we have a commander in chief that is literally willing to hand over a country to terrorists, and those same women or feminists, whatever you want to call them, support that guy, that just shows you how ridiculous their fight is. So I think we need to get a couple C-130s. We need to get a bunch of Karens out there. We gear them up. You know, we give them some dildo guns and send them over and send them on their way and let them go over and fight the Taliban. What do you think? I think that would be a fun experiment, if anything. You know, I don't want to see anyone hurt. That's the thing. I've never wanted to see anyone hurt. But and these are jokes. You know, these are all jokes. I'm not saying that anyone's better than anyone else. What I'm saying is the debacle that's going on in Afghanistan right now is completely absurd. The decisions that our commander-in-chief in this country made are completely insane. He pulls out the troops before he pulls out our civilians. Who does that? I mean, literally, who does that? The troops are supposed to be the first in and the last out. That's what I was taught in the military. You're the first in, last out. And I can't fathom leaving our people over there, and not only that, but leaving the people over there that worked for us. That these, you know, that the Taliban's going to find out who they are. I read today in an article, and this is pretty sick. It was a military article that they had the Taliban had actually captured a bunch of our optical equipment. Basically, it's our optical ID equipment. That's how we were able to ID a lot of the different people over there. It was through their optics. They put the thing up to their eyes and it scans their eyes, and an eye is just like a fingerprint. Well, that's how they were IDing a lot of these people, and it's set in a registry. Well, the problem is not only were they doing that, but they were IDing, you know, the people that work for us, and now they have records of that, so they can go door to door and they can find out who worked for us and murder them, you know, in the streets, do whatever, take them out in the streets and hang them or burn them or whatever they want to do. You know, the Taliban is as bad as ISIS. I don't care who you are, they are. That's their thing. They're terrorists, and you know, they've proven it already. They've gone over and they've murdered people in the streets and made a spectacle of things. So, you know, it's a little disturbing that it you know, to be honest with you, man, if I was somebody that had gone over to Afghanistan and seen how this turned out, I would lose complete faith in our federal government, because this could have very easily been prevented. It could have very easily been done 100 times better. And I hate to say this, but the generals that are in our military that obey the orders that Biden gave for this, they should not be generals anymore. Simply because those orders were illegitimate. They were very poorly given, and anybody with a right mind would understand that you do not pull your troops out before you pull your civilians out. That is a kindergarten level knowledge right there. If anything, I mean, there's not a general on the planet that shouldn't have picked up on that. Now, I do know that the generals had told Biden, and the intelligence community had told Biden that country could collapse, but they gave him time frames, but he didn't listen, supposedly. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. Also, I mean, it's a shit show. Is the best way to put it. I mean, I haven't seen I wasn't when Saigon. I wasn't alive during Vietnam, so I couldn't see that. But this is our Vietnam, folks. We spent 20 years over, you know, in theater over in Afghanistan, and in 17 days it all fell apart. Just unreal. Billions of dollars spent training the Afghan people to protect themselves and govern themselves, and I mean the president, the Afghan president, fled before anything ever really happened. I mean, he was on his way out on an airplane as soon as the Taliban got close. So the billions of dollars that we spent trying to set up that country, that should teach us if anything, that should teach us we shouldn't nation build, for sure. So some things we shouldn't get involved in. Now, if it's coming over to our homeland, which it had in the past, yeah, we step in, we do our thing. But here's the thing I want people to understand. You know, when the guy from, I think it was the Iranian general, Soleimani, I think's his name, when he did something, Trump didn't waste any time. He basically went over and bombed his ass at an airport. Here, uh, one of the guys that's running the Taliban was let out of the prison. I think it's the same prison, if I remember right, reading this, it's the same prison that we had the leader of ISIS in. And Obama let them out, both out. So, death to America all over again. Here we go. And it just completely blows my mind. If we end up with Al Qaeda again, we end up with the Taliban. ISIS is coming back. I mean, they're getting the bands back together. It's going to be a joyful time there in Afghanistan. Lots of people are going to die. Lots of people are going to be strung up in the streets. Families are going to be burned. If right now they're out hunting people. If they have a Bible app on their phone, they're killing them. That's how bad it's gotten in Afghanistan. All the rights that they were starting to be able to utilize are gone. It's history. And all because our commander-in-chief makes a decision to pull the troops out before he pulls the civilians out. Unfreaking believable. The video I watched earlier today has a guy walking around the compounds there in Kabul, and you get to see all the weapons they left behind. You see a bunch of Toyota trucks and stuff that they left behind. You see them going through and destroying all the intelligence equipment that they had. Again, millions of dollars that us, the taxpayers, paid for. They have drones now. They have Apache helicopters now. They have MRAPs. They have Humvees. They probably have tanks. Who knows? But all that got left behind because you know what? Biden said get the troops out. So Biden got the troops out. And now we had to send 5,000 back to get the rest of our people out, which may or may not still be alive by the time we get back. So, real smooth move there, Biden. Now, what I'm hearing, and I've been watching a lot of different things and seeing different articles, and I'm not using Google. I'm using DuckDuckGo, and I'm using a bunch of other sites. It's sounding more and more like Biden's cabinet is just deserting him. I think most people probably seen the video where he's sitting in Camp David all by himself in the boardroom watching TV. Kamala Harris is nowhere to be found. His press secretary is on vacation, so no one's talking to the press. He hasn't really answered any questions from the press. He does a press conference and then disappears. Probably hiding in a basement again. But it's completely ridiculous. Never in my lifetime would I ever expect us to be in the position that we're in. Not only with COVID, but also with the stuff that's going on overseas. And not just with the Taliban, with China, with Russia, and many other countries that are completely oblivious. Talk about a little bit about the COVID stuff. So there's a video running around right now. It's on TikTok, where they are trying to round up kids and shuffle them into looks like a sports arena or sounds like a sports arena to give them the COVID shot. They're rounding them up, going house to house, rounding up the kids. And of course, there's a politician who's saying, "Oh yeah, we'll take care of the kids and we'll make sure that they're taken care of," and yada yada yada. Well, it's easy to do that because they've got everybody locked down in Australia. And I'll tell you right now, Australia wasn't much different than us not long ago. They had guns, they had their rights, they had their freedoms, and slowly, drip by drip, they've lost theirs. Same thing is happening here. So, how much longer are we going to take stuff? How much longer is it till we're going to be out in the streets like Cuba, like Japan, like Africa even? How much longer is it going to be until that starts happening? The American people, and I mean all of the American people, not just one side or the other. You've all been shined on. Everybody's been shined on. This has all been an agenda. It's not been something that was meant to better us at all. And instead, it's made us turn on each other. I hate to say that. I love all Americans. If you're an American citizen, you were born here, or you migrated here and you became an American citizen, I love you. End of story. You're a brother. You're a sister. It saddens me that they have people in Washington, D.C., what is it, 565 people or whatever it is that's in D.C., has turned this country against itself. You go into a store, you look at somebody the wrong way, they jump down your throat. Or worse, they assault you. people are so quick to jump to judgment anymore. People are so quick to dismiss what you have to say anymore. Facebook does it to us all the time. 534. Yeah, Mike, thanks. Appreciate that. So we got 534 people in Washington, D.C. that are dictating what 3 billion people or 300 million people have to do. Why aren't we rising up and erasing what's going on in Washington, D.C.? Seriously. I'm not saying we go and attack it. You can go protest it. You got 300 million people showing up there, or even 1 million people showing up there. What are they going to say? Go home? Yeah, good luck with that. 1 million people, 1 million man march in Washington, D.C. will shut that city down faster than you could even blink. I'm not saying we go in and attack it. We don't go in and have like a major thing like that happened January the 6th. And that wasn't even really major. I mean, if we'd have really, if people that were there, I was not there, but if people that were there wanted to really harm the Capitol, that place would still be a pile of smoldering ash. It would be. There was no way that anyone could stop it. And that was honestly, I hate to say this, but I don't hate to say this, but that was a failure on the police department in Washington, D.C. that day. Everyone knew that there was going to be a big event there on January the 6th. If you didn't know it, you lived under a rock, or you didn't live in the state. So that was a complete shit show on the police department and the people that run Washington, D.C. Yeah, I got a lot of aggression, a lot of just crap built up over the last few days. Just watching stuff. I mean, it boggles the mind how stupid people are. And these are the people we elect, right? Evil people. Absolutely evil. And the ones who vote for them are just as evil. I hate to say that. They are. They're just as evil. Because they know what the agenda is. They understand it. They follow it. They live it. They eat it. And they breathe it. And they shit it. We don't do that. Maybe we need to start. Because we're not gaining any ground any other way. That's basically all I got to say tonight. A little more and more frustrated by every word that I have to speak. I want to take a little bit of a moment of silence for all the people that we lost in Afghanistan, all the people that we left there. I think they deserve your prayers. Everyone that helped us over there, they all deserve your prayers. The people that went over there to fight deserve the respect of every American in this country. Even if our president, so-called president, doesn't want to show respect himself. Let's take a moment of silence real quick. We're hurting, folks. We're hurting bad. We're hurting way worse than we've hurt in a long time. We need to come together as a country. If anything, I mean, this could have been the event. I hate to say this, but it could have been the event that happened here that brings us together. I mean, think about all the time and effort and the money that we spent, the American taxpayers spent over in Afghanistan. Everyone should be mourning what's going on over there right now. If nothing else, for the troops that fought bravely over there, the ones that we lost over there. Ridiculous. All right, well, I'm going to say it one more time. There's going to be an event tomorrow, 5 o'clock to 7 p.m. Tudor and Elmore, show up there. Then I'm going to be running an event, 7 o'clock out in Eagle River. If you want more information on that, learn how to prep, maybe set up your radios, whatever, and get a hold of me. I'll give you the location and the time and the address. Hope everybody has a good night. This went on a little longer than I wanted to. I guess I kind of went on a rant, but whatever. Yeah. I guess I'll catch y'all later. You guys be good.